Hey everybody, how's it going? Christian from Treasure Town here, and today I'm with Derrick from Oki Coins. We met at Witter Coin University, and he specializes in W mint quarters. So I said, hey, we should do a video. I'd like to learn a lot about them because that's not something I've explored too much, and we're gonna hear all about it from him. So thanks so much for being on today, Derrick.
Oh, I'm excited to be on here. I'm glad to talk about W quarters. They're fun to collect, and I still collect them to this day, even though I started collecting them from when they started coming out from the banks. So once they were issued, you know, at the Great American Coin Week, um, when I heard about them, I got super excited, and within 2 years, I found 1,000 of them and made around 10 grand on eBay on them. So they're really fun to collect, and I'm excited to talk about them.
Definitely. No, that sounds like a really good start and certainly a good example of how knowing a little niche well can really pay off both from having fun and being serious about collecting, but also from a financial standpoint. So that's really cool. And YouTube and the internet's great because we can talk to the specific expert in their field about them. So maybe if we take a quick step back, sort of what are the W Mint quarters and why were they put together and even produced?
So the W Mint quarters, just easily put, they were minted at the West Point Mint in New York, and they have a mintage of 2 million per coin. And there were 10 coins made between 2019 and 2020. And that puts it together at around a 20 million mintage for all 10 designs. And there's 2 million per design. So they're considered a modern rarity. They're really cool.
Yeah, and that is interesting because a lot of these coins seem to be getting produced by the billions or just huge
Mhm.
amounts. I don't really can't even think of anything that's because I'm pretty sure they are struck for circulation, right? That is
They
of a
are.
low mintage. So
Mhm.
when they're struck for circulation, how are they entering? Like, are they in rolls of W quarters right out of the mint, or what do they do with them?
So the Mint did not put these on their website, which makes them even more rarer. They did not put them on the website. And the Mint rolls that you could buy from the Mint did not even have the chance of finding them. So you had to find them through bankrolls. So they were really hard to find. And I think I have a little fact here that I was wanting to talk about. Let me see here. So, yes, so they put it, or this, what's this blog? Okay, this blog said that your chance of finding one in a roll of quarters from 2019 to 2020 was 1 in 185 chance. So they're pretty rare, pretty hard to find.
Yeah, no, those are super challenging, and I'll ask some more sort of structured questions later. But you found 1,000 of them. Like, how many coins did you look through? Was it a big hit of a bunch of them in a row, or what was your process?
So what I would do when I was finding them, I would just go to the bank and get a box of quarters. They're $500, so I had to save $500, you know, to get these to start collecting these, and so it was hard at first. It took about 1 or 2 months till I actually got a hit. And the first design I found were the War in the Pacific National Park quarters. And within 5 to 10 boxes, I found around 150 of them.
Wow, that's a good start. And so did you sort of keep going, or did it taper off a little bit? And also, like, how did maybe before? Well, yeah. First, let's ask, like, yeah, did it taper off as time went on, or is this something people can find still?
So today, it more or less, they're probably just going to be circulated in pocket change, unless you go to a small town bank and they're just still sitting back there with the big layer of dust on them. So very unlikely to find them new anymore, unless you just go to a coin show where you find them graded.
Okay. Okay. And when you sort of did them, was there a specific like War of the Pacific? Maybe one thing to also note for the collectors is what series were these, and sort of are there any extra rare ones? Forget about we'll talk about maybe higher end top pop rarities, but were there any that were more rare? Or with the even mintage of 2 million, was it pretty much the same on all of them?
So they all had an even mintage of 2 million. So technically they should all be the same price, but that's not the case. Not the case. Some of them are worth way more.
Okay, and why is that?
That's a great question. And I think it has to do with how the Mint distributed them across the United States. Like, for example, the Tallgrass Prairie National Park quarter from 2020. I had horrible luck finding them, and within a week, I found 3 boxes of them and had around 150 of them.
Well,
I found about 50 per box, and weirdest thing ever. So I think the mint kind of, had trouble distributing them evenly across the United States, because I talked to some people from the West Coast that never found one in 2 years, and I'm over here in Oklahoma, a tiny rural state, and I live in a town of 4,000 people, and I found around 1,000 of them in 2 years.
wow.
So
That was the secret drop for the mint, where they just shipped all of them.
most definitely.
Yeah, and in terms of those coins, what would you do? What was your process for once you had them? Were you looking at them really closely, getting some of them graded? I know that there were some bounties, or maybe like the first one certified. Maybe if you could talk a little bit about the bounty program, sort of your strategy and the bounty program.
So there was only one design that I was really close to getting the bounty. I was 2 days off from getting the $2,000 reward, and it was the River of No Return quarter. So
Okay.
I think I actually have it here. Let me show you. Yeah, I do. I'll try my best to get it near the camera. But this one has the first week of discovery label on it. It might be hard to see, but I tried my best. I tried my best. So this quarter was 2 days off from getting the $2,000 bounty and the where it said, first discovery. It was 2 days off. So really cool. And I actually know the person who got the first discovery on that coin. She's from Arkansas.
Nice. So maybe it was that sort of southeastern / Midwest. I don't even know what exact you'd call it, but that sort of area where they sent all of them. How did she do it? Was she also just getting it in a bankroll or something?
So she had this huge strategy to where she would have the bank order like 8 boxes a week. And I think she found over 4,000 in 2 years. So she had it on a way higher scale than me.
Yeah. And was it by the date that it was postmarked, or did you have to like send these things in with like $50 shipping to get them overnight?
Oh, so are you talking about how the banks got the boxes?
Or how you sent them into the grading companies? Like,
okay. I thought you were talking about the banks. Okay. So yeah, see, here's my deal on the River of No Return quarter. I did the cheapest way of shipping because I'm tight, I guess. So if I would have overnighted it, I probably would have gotten the $2,000 reward.
Oh man. Okay.
Yeah.
Wasn't sure.
So yeah, it was funny, and it was really funny because I think I was the third person on all of eBay to have them listed on there, and I was selling them around $90 to $120 a piece.
Whoa. And
so
what are they now?
Because what is it? Specifically the River of No Return raw, $5 to $10. People were only paying that big of premium because they wanted to get that first week discovery on that label. So yeah.
Makes sense. No, I wouldn't have thought of that, but yeah. So in terms of these coins with the first day of find or first week find provenance, how are those holding up? Because obviously you're selling them for $90 to people who wanted to put it on. Did that make a difference in the long run?
So like the first week of discovery provenance they command massive premiums because of the registry sets. So like I think the American Memorial design with the first week of discovery, an MS67 is worth $1,400, and without the provenance, with no provenance, including the first week of discovery and the early find, if it was just discovered within a month after that, there was only $400 in MS67. So it's worth basically a little bit more than 3 times more with that writing on there that says first week of discovery. So it's insane.
Wow. No, yeah. I wouldn't have expected that. I mean, I would think maybe a little bit of a difference, but I guess the other question that then immediately pops out is like, what prices are these at different sort of grades? Like, is it 65, 66, 67? When are these things getting expensive and worth certifying, especially if somebody out there has some really nice looking ones in their collection?
So that's a great question, and that's something I've had to tackle when submitting my own. So I just submitted 5 West Point quarters, and my cutoff is MS65 and up.
Okay.
for all designs. MS65s on some designs is like they're only like $40. So like, it's worth it, but is it really that worth it,
Yeah. Yeah.
So like for example, the Lowell West Point quarter. In MS65, they're $50. In MS66, they're $55. And in MS67, they're $340. And that's the top pop. So it really determines on which design you're submitting. It really does. It's insane.
Yeah. Did you have any success with, clearly you had a lot of success selling these early and just selling these overall. Were any coins that you sent in to get graded? Did they have any good results?
So my best coin that I ever submitted was just a lot of MS66s. I've never gotten a 6+ or 7 back yet. And I'm hoping that's the case with the sub I just sent into PCGS, obviously.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That would be great. I mean, what sort of, when you would get them out of the rolls, were a fair amount of them scuffed up and got somewhere to the point they couldn't be 5 at all?
Oh, there were some that would probably grade MS60. They were so dinged up, it was insane. So like some days, I would just get a box from the bank, I'd find 10, 20, 30, 40 of them. And on average, I'd say they're all MS63s, MS64s. And then you have a few 5s, maybe 1 6, and every few batches I got maybe a 7.
Okay.
So really hard to find high grade ones. It's surprising.
Yeah. I wonder why. Like, is it because they get transported to the rolling places in big bags or something out of the mint? And also, by the way, I think it's cool that they did that and they're not just selling them to collectors in rolls where they all get like 7s and 8s. I think that the sort of unique finding it through circulation makes it way more fun. But I kind of went on a tangent there. Do you know why they were so scuffed up?
So they were put in these huge bags that the mint uses still today. They've used them forever. They're these huge bulk bags, and I'm trying to read here. They have 200,000 coins in them each.
Whoa.
So imagine they're just getting, as they're getting transported to like Brinks and all these other banking companies and stuff, they're just getting sloshed around in those bags. So they're just getting destroyed in a sense. So it's really hard to get a high grade one. Like I said, I mean, it's just sheer luck. An MS67 quarter could have been sitting on the top of that bag and never moved much. And then there could have been ones at the bottom that basically are MS61s or 2s that are just ugly.
Yeah.
So
certainly. And who decided to sort of stop these? Like, I know you mentioned a little bit with the Great American Coin Hunt, which was, I think, when a lot of people decided to recirculate some lower dollar things into circulation to get people looking at their change in addition to some of these entering. Why were they started a little bit, but then more like, why did they stop? It seems like it was a really fun thing, and a way for somebody like you or me to make an extra quick buck while enjoying coin collecting without having to pay too much money.
See, that's the interesting thing with these. They weren't even supposed to mint the 2020 W quarters, and out of nowhere they said we're going to mint them. And I thought when they announced it, I was super excited, and it was like 2019 all over again.
Yeah.
It was fun, but yeah, when 2020 was over, and I was just down to my last few boxes of looking through them, I was thinking, are they going to do 2021s? And they didn't. So. And there was never news about them releasing, hey, they didn't even tell us the mint. So I don't know. I mean, they probably just were tired of minting them and having to deal with the W quarters, because the whole minting process is different for the W quarters too. So it's pretty interesting.
How's that? I wouldn't even have.
Okay.
Yeah.
So the West Point quarters were struck different than any circulating quarters today, and very few people know this, and it's pretty interesting. That's why they have like a satiny weird finish. They're really odd looking. So most coins today that are struck by the mint, they're struck like this, right? They have a feeder tube going down and they're struck vertically. The West Point quarters were struck horizontally.
Oh, wow.
So really interesting, and they were struck with a little bit more force. That's what I've heard, so don't quote me on that. That's why they look way more stronger looking, but they do look like they were struck with a lot more force, because when they're mixed in with the P&D quarters, the P&Ds just don't look that good. And, sometimes they're just scuffed up and they're weak strikes. And you see the W quarters and man, they're before you even see the mint mark, you're like, oh, that's a W quarter.
Oh, sweet. No, I didn't realize that they were that. I do a little bit of penny coiner hunting, have been going a little bit away from it as well recently, just from a time perspective, but I never have done a box of quarters, or at least not like the last 3 or 4 years. Maybe like 3 years ago before the W's. Maybe they can get some new W1s for 2021 late this year. Surprise everybody.
I hope so. For all the cornrow hunters,
Yeah, exactly. I can move down to Arkansas or Oklahoma. And
there you go.
Just try to go where they're headed.
Yeah.
I know that there were some, like I've seen some with a V75 Privy Mark. Do you know sort of what that represents and why that's on some of the coins?
So the V75 Privy Mark was made to commemorate the ending of World War II. So it's really cool. It's really patriotic. I think it's sweet. But yeah, when we go to screen sharing minute, I will show you the Privy Marks and stuff. But yeah, they're really cool.
Cool. And yeah, before we go into screen sharing mode, anything else that I might be missing, or now I can sort of hand over to you, see if we could sort of spotlight some of the information we haven't covered in the screen sharing.
That's about it. They're pretty simple. They're pretty simple.
Yeah, no, but it's fun, and I'm excited to learn a little more in terms of some of the stuff you prepared. So maybe if you want to share your screen and we can go from there.
Yeah, let's do it. So you see it?
Yep, looks good.
Sweet. So this is the first design that came out, the Lowell National Park quarter. I had no luck finding these, and most collectors that were searching for W quarters did pretty well with these. I did not. So yeah, so the pricing on these reflects how easy they were to find. So see, an MS65 is only $50.
Mm-hmm.
See that's pretty fair price, and it's affordable for everyone. That's a great price. I love the Lowell strike for that reason. And the Pcgs population is nearly 5,000. That's a lot of coins.
Yeah, certainly it seems to sort of hold up a little bit in the 6. I actually have, and maybe this is a question you're not sure of, but is there crazy premiums for like a 5+ or a 6+, just from people who like want to get a full set of everyone just because the pops are so low, like in terms of like a weird registry thing, as opposed to, are people paying more for a 5+ versus a 6 just because there's 16 and pop 5+?
Yeah, so that's where I stand on the registry set. So my registry set, I'll tell you real quick. I have a MS66 Lowell, MS66 Plus American Memorial, an MS67 War in the Pacific, a 67 San Antonio, and a 66 Plus in the River of No Return. So the reason I have a few plus grades in there is because they are just so expensive to get in 7. Like, okay. I don't want to pay that much money.
Yeah. And I bet they look pretty similar in terms of
they do.
a hit or two. What sort of is the wear patterns like? Is there a high point? I'm trying to think on the new quarters that it might not be where you'd think, but where are these coins getting scuffed up?
So mainly the cheek and in the field, as if a Morgan dollar,
Okay.
And on the reverse, there really wasn't much wear on the reverse on these, like in general. Like, every once in a while you'd see a big gash that would, in turn be a details quarter on the obverse or reverse in some of these, or a massive scratch that would details great at PCGS. But, mainly the obverse, you guys just gotta look at the cheek and the front field in front of the face.
Okay. Anything else in terms of like, are there certain ones that are the key dates, or maybe we could get into V75? I'm not sure what other.
Okay, so the key dates gets really interesting, and it's really opinionated. So take this with a grain of salt. In my opinion, the key dates are the American Memorial, the Salt River Bay, the Rockefeller Quarter, and the Tallgrass Prairie. Those 4 were way harder to find in circulation, and they command higher premiums. And you will see that in a minute when I show you these.
Okay. Yeah, maybe we can check them out. And it's sort of funny how there's keys when most of them or all of them have the same vintage.
Yeah, it's interesting. Yeah, it just depends on survival rate and who found them and who sent them in. So the MS66, it's only a $5 jump, and once you hit 7, it's a $340 coin, and then that becomes the top pop.
Yeah, is that similar for a lot of the other designs?
Some designs, the top pop is 68 even, but
Okay,
most of them, the top pop are 67.
okay.
So
And
there, I think there are some, I think there are a lot of top pops sitting at coin shows that are ungraded by, uh, the dealers or PCGS. If you have a good eye, I think there's some top pops sitting out there, and they would instantly become $2,000 coins if they were graded, if they'd be the solo top pop.
whoa, I wouldn't have. Maybe that's a good tip for people. Have you just thought of that and sort of gone around? I'm not sure. Some dealers probably would carry that sort of inventory, and others might not get too much
So
to it.
I've been to 4 shows in the last 2 years. I live in a real rural area, as you know, Oklahoma. So we don't have very much. So the places I have gone, I've only seen one dealer at one show carry the Lowell quarters, and I looked through them, and I didn't get it graded, but it's probably a 66, and it's
Okay.
actually in my raw set. I have a raw set of
Okay.
the 2019 and the 2020s, and I have both of my registries sitting here as well, so I can look at them.
Very cool. Very cool. What are some of the other websites or website, whatever pages that you want to share with us? Maybe we can walk through some of those.
So basically, PCGS is about the only one that I trust for the pricing and stuff because they're so new. I don't even think Gray Sheet is showing prices up for these yet. So I think PCGS price guide is the best way to go.
Mm-hmm.
And I'll move to the San Antonio, or excuse me, the American Memorial. There we go. This one's fun. This is the one of the key dates that I was referring to, and you'll see why in just a second. So in a 65, they're $50. In a 66, they're $70, but in a 7, $475.
Whoa, that's a big jump for a coin that was minted 2 years ago for circulation.
That's right.
Um,
And I'll even show you the first week of discovery on this. Look how insane the pricing is on these. So in a 66, they're $475. In a 67, they're $2,000.
wow. And
with the first week of discovery provenance.
yeah.
So just that little writing on there makes it worth that much. But they were found, the first week of when they came out. So it's really cool to know that somebody, some dealer, some collector, some corner hunter, some kid even found this, was like, I need to get this graded. And it kind of creates a little story, that somebody had this graded during the first week. So it's really cool.
Yeah, it's sort of a fun little program. I mean, for me personally, I would say, like, if I was assembling a set, I would just more stick to non first week of discoveries. But it's cool, like, for the upper, there's always a collector who wants to collect something more rare and rare and rare. So it's
Most definitely.
fun they have that sort of label. Any other of these that you would want to highlight in terms of the designs? Was a War of Pacific? Was that one of the ones you said was a key?
This is the War in the Pacific. No, this one's one of the more common ones. So I found around 200 of these, 150 to 200 of these, searching for the W quarters to the banks. So yes, let's get into it here. So in a 65, they're worth $45, and I'm gonna add this as a note as well. This is probably the most common W quarter out of all of them that were found in circulation. So they're pretty cheap and affordable. In a MS66, they're $65. In a 7, they're very cheap in MS67. This is a good coin to buy for an investment, I think, especially since they're so cheap, because the American Memorial, they're $475, and on the War in the Pacific, they're $75. So it's a very affordable coin at a high grade.
Yeah, it seems like a lot of other people were able to have some success grading them. I almost wonder, like, the big price falling off. I wonder how many collectors you think are serious about sort of assembling and competing on the registry for this set.
Yes, so the registries they're very crazy. So the pricing, and I'm about to show you here, there is 5 MS67 pluses and 3 68s for the American Memorial. I think some of these 68s have sold for over $2,000, and I think the 67 pluses sell for around $1 to $2,000.
Whoa.
A lot of money for a quarter struck 2 years ago.
Yeah, certainly when it's literally came out of a bank box.
I know. They're crazy, I'm telling you.
What are some of the other ones that we maybe haven't focused on as much? How's the San Antonio missions one?
So the San Antonio Mission, this one is a really common one as well.
Mhm.
So an MS65, really cheap, just $30. So, anyone can collect these. That's what I love about them. You can either you can walk into a coin shop and buy one for $5, or you can go on eBay and fill up a registry for under 10 grand.
Yeah.
They're for everybody, and that's why I love them. Like
Yeah.
you can't say that about a US Top set.
Yeah. Certainly not.
So yeah, and in 66 they're $40. And see, these a lot of people sent these in. You can see the pops for this.
Crazy high pop
And
on 67 too, 640.
yes, so I actually have a 67 right here, and I'll put it up to the camera. I don't know how good you'll be able to see it.
Mm-hmm. It's
So
the zoom camera is not always the best. We maybe if we meet at another show or something, we'll do a follow up.
yeah,
but
the screen share works good though. I'll tell you that.
yeah, certainly. I think I've seen one of those in these things. It's cool that they're in circulation most of the time with P or D, but I know a lot of people enjoy finding them. There's probably got to be one more design for 2019.
There is one more, but I was going to touch up on the sevens. So
okay.
Yeah, you're good. The sevens are really affordable. Like I think you can get them for $100. So a really good investment coin, in my opinion, as far as the debut quarters go. And in 68, they go up to around $1,500. These are just based off of eBay comps I've seen in the past.
Yeah, and I wonder if there's opportunity, if there's some eights hiding in set, if the crack out phenomenon is involved in the W quarters, or if you have a good eye for them.
I mean, you could crack out a 7+ and just cross your fingers, and hopefully the graders are having a good day, and you might get lucky.
Yeah.
I might try that sometime. That's a good idea. Okay, so this is the Frank Church River of No Return National Park quarter. This is the one I had the most luck on. I think I found around 300 of these within a few months. Yeah, and these were kind of hard to find across the country. They're kind of, in my opinion, they're on the border of being a key date, because look at the pops. There's not very many.
Yeah, no,
compared to these others.
Just 100, a little over 167, and just 267 pluses.
Yeah, and as you can see, these are real similar to the pricings on the American Memorial, and those were very hard to find. And there's only 267 pluses, and if I'm not mistaken, one of these sold for over $2,000 a few years ago.
Whoa.
Yeah.
It seems to be a consistent floor for the top end of these. Is like people are paying $2,000. So for the a finest known registry, that number one registry, probably not too much more than $20,000 or $30,000.
Oh yeah. So now we get into the 2020 W quarters. So this is where it gets really fun and interesting. So I don't know if your viewers knew this, but there is a Privy Mark on this quarter.
Yep.
This is the first ever Privy Mark issued on a business strike coin in the United States. And to this day, it's the only one issued for a business strike circulating coin. So really cool. It commemorates, like I said earlier, it commemorates the ending of World War II, V75, 75 years. So really cool. So yeah, these are, in my opinion, a little bit more fun to collect than the 2019s, just because of that Privy Mark,
Yeah, no, it separates them from anything else that we see. Some other countries I know use privies on. I think France at one point was doing it on their circulating coinage with a little animals, but it's cool to see it in the U.S.
So some of the 2020 dates have way lower pops, and I don't know whether people were just getting tired of sending them in, or they just got that hard to find. It's pretty interesting, because look how low the pops get in the 67 here.
Yeah, 50 is like less than half. I forget what the first one. The name of the first one that we were looking at. Maybe the Samoa, or Pacific effort, but seems pretty low relative to any dates. And was this sort of the trend for all of these in 2020, or just on this one?
That's a great question. So basically every one of them but the Weir Farm, they just have low pops, and I don't know why. That's a great question, and I can't answer that. It's interesting. So on this particular design, you have the bat, and you got the Privy Mark, just like all other 2020s. And in 66, they're $65. In 67, they jump up to $375.
Hmm.
So really cool.
Yeah, yeah, definitely on the higher end.
Mhm.
Check out what's next.
So we have the 2020 W Weir Farm. So these are really common. Like I found around probably 250 of these.
Mhm.
And once again, they have the privy and the reverse. I really like on this one. It's got a lot of detail going.
Hey, that's the Connecticut one. So I got to go check that out.
Yes.
That's where I'm located. So I'll have to
Oh,
go.
that's really cool.
But yeah, it looks immediately like the pops are a little bit bigger when we took a quick look. And I'm almost thinking in my mind, it could have very much been that the first year, just a lot of interest was there, and maybe there was some
Mhm.
big organization that was buying tons of these just to submit and then market. Maybe those
Yeah.
people either didn't have a lot of success or just sort of diverted their attention elsewhere. That's in my mind what I would venture a guess at. But it seems like this actually is a little like slightly more rare. Maybe you did well with them, but there's not too many out there in the 67.
Mhm. So yes, for the Weir Farm in '66, they're only $55. It's a really really affordable coin. Like I said, some of these are really affordable, and some of these get really expensive. And in seven, this is an $800 coin. It goes from $55 to $800 within one grade.
That's a big jump.
So yeah, these are really common in 65 and 6, but this is one of the biggest jumps in the entire series.
Okay, good to know. Yeah, it's helpful to talk to somebody that knows which coins have the biggest jump. All the little things that you might even not pick up on yourself just going through the PCGS site.
Mhm.
One
So yeah,
question:
we'll
How
move on.
important? While
What
we
is it?
bring up the next one, how important is it to get these graded with PCGS versus any grading service if you were collecting these? I would think there's a big registry effect.
So there is a massive registry effect. So PCGS, they're really hard on these, and that's a good thing in my opinion. I've realized, they aren't giving out 68s like some other companies do. 68s, like in some other companies, are really common.
Mm-hmm.
So, and I think PCGS is being really realistic on these because some 68s I've seen in other companies are just they don't match up to what an 8 really is in my opinion. So there is like I think less than 10 eights for the entire 2 year series.
Okay.
Really hard to get them. And I mean, it makes sense when they were literally putting a bag filled with 20,000 coins. It almost seems like there's a story behind every one of those. How did
Yeah.
they make it, you know, from the minting process into a bag, into a rolling facility, and into somebody's hands?
Yeah.
And they ended up getting a 68. That's very interesting in my opinion. So, yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. No, that seems
So,
consistent with a lot of a lot of the, there's not too many eights and nines ever on even like the. I've just been looking at the pop reports for some of like the 70s
mm.
and 80s cents. So, what do we have next year?
So next is the Salt River Bait. Funny enough, I did not find any of these, and I was really sad about it.
Okay.
So yes, this is the only price guide that's kind of off on eBay. These are going for about $80 to $90 a piece,
Mhm.
and price guide's 50. So either the dealers are overpricing them and nobody's buying them, or they're actually worth $80. See, that's the interesting part with these. They're still really new, so the pricing can be a little off, but for the most part, I would still trust it if you're
Yeah.
buying them on eBay or something, or at a coin show.
Yeah, no, it's cool with how some, we spoke before the video, I was looking at some classic commemorative half dollars. And
Mhm.
at some point, the classic commems used to be extremely hot in the market and they've cooled off a little bit. And other things go unnoticed for a long period of time and then become a real rarity down the road. So it'll be interesting to see where the W quarters go.
Yes. And this one, do you see how low the pops is on this? Isn't that crazy? In 65, only 1,000, 66, 250, and 67, only 26, and none higher. So I see this coin moving up way up there in price someday.
Okay. Okay. We'll
So
come back to this video in a few years and maybe a few decades, and we can we can see. But I think
let's
that
do it.
makes
Yeah.
sense.
So in 66, like I said, eBay, they're going for about $80. Not people aren't really buying them for that, but I mean $50 is probably right. I would have to agree with that because I mean, they really can't get much higher than that in a 66 on Price Guide, compared to all the other designs. There's a certain, limit as far as how far they can go on a 66, And then in a 7, there's no price guide for these. But before the video here, I was looking and I've seen a few 7s go for around $1,800 on eBay sold.
Whoa. That's
without any provenance.
That's incredible.
It is insane. I will say that. So next is the one I always forget the name of, the Marsh Billings Rockefeller. That's a mouthful. I did not find any of these, and I yet to own this coin. I did not own one of these in my entire collection, which is funny because I'm supposed to be the W quarter king.
So no, gotta get on that.
Yeah, I know. It's kind of sad. So these raw are really expensive. I think this is kind of one of the, what I was telling you earlier, one of the key dates. So these raw on eBay are upwards of $40 a piece in mint state. That's a lot of money.
That's a big spread compared to the others, especially.
And as you can see here, in 65, they're $60, and in 66, they're $125. I was saying earlier, $60 is about the most they can go unless something's really wrong. And that's what I was saying. Look at the pops. They drop down. Look, there's 16 here in MS67.
Yeah, that's very steep as a drop. I mean, that's like, it makes sense why that's the key compared to so many of the other ones.
Mm-hmm. So yes, in 7, $800. It's a lot of money for a coin that was just minted 2 years ago.
Certainly. And is there one more, or am I misremembering?
There is one more, and this one is my probably favorite out of all of them because I just sent some into PCGS, and I just love the design on this one, and I like the person who designed the reverse. Her name is Emily Damstra, and I actually own one of the only designs that PCGS offered signed labels for, and I will try my best to show the camera after this to where they can see it really well.
Okay.
So Emily Damstra signed a lot of labels for this design, and that's what made this design really cool to some people. So like, let me show you here. See how there's the Emily S. Damstra signature?
Mm-hmm.
I actually own one of these in 66, and see, there wasn't very many of these.
Yeah. No, that's
there was not very many of these at all.
That's great.
And needless to say, I did spend probably double price guide for it.
What was your purchase price on it?
So it was, I think, around $125. So it was a lot of money, but it's cool. It's really cool.
Yeah, no, that's it's a fair amount, but also if it's like an artist you really enjoy or an engraver, designer you really enjoy, and it's a nice coin and not super common, it doesn't sound, there's a lot of coins that people could collect that are, way cheaper, but also a lot that are way more expensive. So it seems to be a good, if your thing is W quarters, that's a pretty cool buy.
Yeah. So this one's really cool. It's the tallgrass prairie from Kansas, and it's got the butterfly and the wheat stalks on the back. It's just a beautiful quarter. I mean, it's my favorite design out of all 10 of them. It's really cool.
Great.
And this one's my favorite one out of all of them because look at the price jump.
Let's see.
In a 65, they're $80, and in 66, they're $225.
That seems super high. Wow. And it's not like the top is 330. It's not like they're extremely, extremely rare, but maybe.
And they're getting that on eBay, believe it or not. Yeah. They're actually getting it around the $200 range. And the 7, $750.
Seems like you made out well by getting the signed one for $125.
Yes, I did.
Well, so the ones you submitted go as well.
Yeah. I'll actually hit you up on Instagram when I get those grades back. We'll see what those go.
Yeah, that'd be fun. I'll edit them in the video description as well.
Okay. So yeah, in a 7, they go up to 750. In a 7 plus and an 8, I did not know there was an 8. That is crazy. That's something new for me. I usually check these every few weeks because I'm kind of the expert in these.
Yeah.
So yeah, I didn't know there was an 8. That's cool. But yeah. This is a 7 plus, and from 7 plus to 8, I'll just touch up on this. It comes down to the smallest, little nicks and stuff. And This coin right here, I can tell you what hit it from an 8. See
Mhm.
that rim ding on the in front of the ear?
Yeah, yeah, that looks
That
like
one ding hit it from an 8. I can tell you that right now.
yeah. Where else would the wear? Is there a little pattern I'm trying to see here on the rims, a little bit in the top of the reverse rim, and
Are you talking about right here?
yeah. I mean, is that really the other thing that sort of gets coins, or is it just going to be a lot of wear in the cheek and the right in front of the?
So this coin is pretty rough on the rim. That's really interesting for a W quarter strike. Usually they have really squared rims, and as you can see on the bottom here, really squared off, right?
Mhm.
So that gets kind of rough here. So that's really interesting strike. But yeah, most of these, all you have to worry about is this front field right here, the cheek, and some in the hair.
Mhm.
Usually right here, there's not much issues, and near the mint mark, there's very few. So yeah,
Okay.
and that's it as far as all 10 designs. And
Awesome.
I will stop
Well,
screen sharing here. So
yeah.
yeah, one thing I have to touch up on, I was wrong about the signed coin. It was the 2019 Frank Church River No Return. She designed that as well. So she
Okay.
designed 2 of them, and I will show it right now. So as you can see, there's the sign label. Really
Oh
cool.
yeah. Yeah, no, it comes through. It's tough with the webcams to get super right on the coin, but you can see the
Yeah,
signature clearly.
yeah. That's all I was just trying to show. The coin, that's hard to show on there, but yeah,
Yeah. Awesome. Well, is there anything else that before we wrap it up? I learned so much. Is there anything else you want to highlight on these coins?
that's about it.
Sweet. Well, I'll look forward to seeing you sometime at a show in person, and maybe you'll be back on the channel in the future. And thanks so much for speaking with me today. And let's open this package up. Just want to point out a quick thing here. Pack your coins like this. This is how I pack them as well. Tape all the way around so you can't have anybody opening the coins. But I'm going to cut this open and I'll show you the cool coin, and then we'll launch into an awesome discussion on the W quarters. And here it is. So we got a little nice note from Derrick, again, who is at Okie Coins. You'll learn all about it, but a 2020 W Ware Farm Mint State 66 quarter. So this one is my home state of Connecticut, and really excited to own this coin. I try to collect, Connecticut coinage when I can. Still going to work on getting some really nice examples of the classic commemoratives, but a great coin to have. Thanks for watching the video. I'd encourage you to like, comment, and subscribe to the channel to stay updated. I've also got Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter, so you can follow me there. TreasuretownYT.com is the main channel website. Definitely give that a visit. I've got a lot of information about me up there and the channel. CoinGrabBag.com as well currently redirects there, but it's some good opportunities for very fair grab bags, both made by me and other sellers. A lot of different options, so that's a good way to support. There's also TreasuretownCoins.com. In the future, my coin dealing operation will be done out of that website. CoinMeltPrice.com for updates on the melt prices of your coins, both US and world. A lot of resources in that website. And then CoinsMetalsCards.com being developed right now as a marketplace and news source for coins, metals, cards, and collectibles in general. So I'll see you on my future videos. Looking forward to seeing you there, and hope you have a good day.